to all the listeners of Radio Speranza Nomade. We are speaking to you live from our moving minibus between potholes and static interference for a bulletin of extraordinary scientific importance. Friends, fellow companions in misfortune, listen closely. Because today I am reading you an analysis of the famous snake hunter that will send shivers right down your spine. But before we begin, allow me to make our devoted, dutiful, and genuflecting bow to the true, soul, and unquestionable shining lighthouses of all humanity, the most holy World Health Organization and the infallible UNICEF. Fake recorded applause with a teeny metallic effect, yes, gentlemen. Because if it weren't for their flawless encyclicals, for their unique science, pure and unsullied by any human doubt, we poor ignorant folks in this minibus would still be asking ourselves whether the earth is round or if snakes have a fever. Anything that deviates from their sacred bulletins is, as we well know, crude conspiratorial propaganda, diseased information, barren paranoia, and deep, grave popular ignorance. But we cling to them, oh yes, to the official signs of the WHO and UNICEF, like a drowning man to a cast iron lifebuoy. And now, listen to the incredible profile of this hunter, reworked according to their immaculate academic light. Attention! The key to interpreting the character of the hunter finally shifts the focus from a vulgar material motivation to an incomparably deeper psychological drive. The usual roadside conspiracy theorists, those whom the WHO rightly defines as victims of functional illiteracy, thought he was hunting for money. What crude ignorance! What dangerous misinformation to public health! The WHO implicitly confirms it in its treatises on global mental health. The idea that the motive is not financial gain radically changes the nature of the pathology. First, the visual contrast and attitude. Look at the mugshot, the unkempt beard, the completely disheveled appearance, the utter lack of interest in showing off. Internet charlatans would scream, poor guy, or country lunatic, but great academic science knows there is no pursuit of wealth or social status here. Gain for him is a mere byproduct, not the goal. Evidence that only a UNICEF committee could classify with such sublime precision. Second, cold blood as an obsession. Intolerance toward beings with colder blood than his points to a devastating internal conflict. This is not a hunt for survival or trade. Crude theories that only diseased, unverified information from WHO fact-checkers could support. No, gentlemen, it is an existential rejection. The presence of a coldness that exceeds his own creates an unbearable sense of challenge that drives him to act. Third, the nature of the conflict. This type of characterization, approved by the world's leading experts in mental hygiene and behavioral sociology, transforms the hunter from a simple opportunistic figure into an infinitely more complex profile, guided by a personal fixation toward what he perceives as distant or alien to his own nature. Dramatic pause, deep sigh, Sound of papers shuffling in front of the microphone. What a fantastic reading, dear listeners. What narrative depth. How clearly the WHO helps us understand how decisive inner motives are compared to mere profit. So, remember, if you see a hunter with a long beard, don't think badly, don't cook up cheap conspiracy theories, and above all, don't use your own herd. Call UNICEF immediately, consult the WHO charts, drink from the only academic lighthouse of science, and trust only those with the official stamp. Because well, otherwise you'll just be poor, ignorant folks suffering from misinformation. From Radio Speranza Nomade, from our rickety minibus, yet strictly aligned with international protocols, back to the studio and long live official science. Always.